Hi everybody, it's Nisha Zachary. Welcome back to Permission to Lead. Today we have with us Aliza Bloom Robinson. Aliza is a speaker, author, and a master facilitator. She uses an entertaining and unique blend of humor, storytelling, and experiential work in her teachings. She is the founder and CEO of divineawakening.org. Aliza teaches and speaks across the continent. Her first book, Be a Boa, Not a Constrictor, is an inspired fable of awakening and has received rave reviews. Her latest book, Falling into Ease, is an Amazon #1 best-selling book. So hi, Aliza. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi, Nisha. I'm really glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So I know you're on your book tour right now. Can you tell us a little bit about your story and your book?
I will. I'm so glad you asked. So I've finally learned to bring props, right?
Perfect.
My latest book is Falling into Ease. And this book is, I have to say that it's actually quite brilliant. It has, it poured through me in the writing of it. I was working on another book and then it was like, oh no, that's not it. And then boom, bam, this one poured through me. And its whole development has been a journey in falling into ease. Now, I do have to tell you that it was a journey of falling into ease. It wasn't necessarily an easy project, but it is filled with real life stories, antidotes, practices, tools, tips, my story woven in. And really my mission on the planet is wrapped up in this book, because I know from my own life experience and I know from my belief system and watching people is life is not meant to be so hard. Like life is meant to be joy-filled and to be rich and to be easier. Even when the circumstances that life gives us are difficult, there's a way to fall into ease in the midst of tough life stuff. You've gone through a tough life thing in the last week or two.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and yet in the midst of that, you can find a moment of ease.
Right.
You can find a pathway of ease to navigate through the tough times.
That's very true.
So you actually asked me about my book tour. Yeah, so I'm taking it across the country. Every place I go, whether I'm speaking, which I'm doing some, whether I'm facilitating retreats. I've done a couple women's retreats this fall, whether I'm on a podcast or a telesummit or whatever it is, that is a stop on the book tour. So we're collecting pictures and videos of every stop, and I've got it on my book tour page on my other website, which is alizabloom.com, which is where all the book related things are landing.
Okay, that's awesome.
So here we are.
I know. I'm so excited.
Let's stop on the virtual book tour of Falling into Ease. Would it be all right with you, Nisha, if life got easier?
Yes, definitely. You're so nice. You know what, though? I think sometimes we make it hard because, we don't give ourselves the permission for it to be easy. We just expect everything to be hard. We've always been told, you have to work hard to get what you want, no pain, no gain, all of those things. So based on the title of your book, how do you define permission and how do you give yourself permission?
Well, I think that's a really fabulous question. And one simple answer is to be true to yourself. Because what so many of us, and especially women, but men too, we have like the subconscious programming, right? That if you're not busy, you're not worthy.
Right.
If you're not doing it exactly the way you think other people think you should be doing it, you're doing it wrong.
Right.
But when we step out, especially the entrepreneurs, probably especially your audience, whoever's looking for permission to leap, right? It's like you have to find that within your own soul. And the way that you do that is to just listen deeply. What is your heart's desire? What is the impulse within you? And permission to leap can be to fly off the cliff with a huge career change, or It can be as small as standing up in a conversation. So, you know what, I want to play in that conversation. Let's play in this one instead.
Oh.
Permission to leap in my realm, in my body of thinking, is being authentic and being true to you. Does that fit in with your bigger picture of permission to leap?
Yes, definitely. Because I think that's the biggest thing. Like, you have to give yourself permission. You can't wait for the rest of the world to give you permission, because 9 times out of 10, nobody's going to do it.
Right. And the reason for that is because 9 times out of 10, you're hanging out with people who are not giving themselves permission.
Exactly.
Right? They want you to be safe. They don't necessarily want you to stay small, but that's ultimately what the message is.
Right.
They want you to be smart. They want you to follow the tried and true, even though tried and true brings stress and anxiety and blah.
And not joy and peace. Exactly.
Right. But what if the permission to leap is exactly what gives you ease? Wow. What if finding ease is the exact thing that gives you permission to leap?
Huh. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like that infinity cycle, right?
Right.
Like when you give yourself permission to be in ease, oh, of course I'm going to jump, leap, take, stand, speak. When you take a stand for your own self, whether that's, you know what, no, I'm going to go take a long hot bath in the bathroom by myself with the door closed, light my candles, bring my glass of wine, do not interrupt me for like 12 minutes, right?
That would be so awesome.
Right? Speaking to those of you who have young children at home still. Exactly. Right? And then that opens up this space of ease. Right. But when we're constantly like bombarded in our own minds from well, they think I should do this and somebody I should do that and this and that and the other, it's all like comes in on us.
Right.
So the whole definition is to clear that clutter.
Oh, I'm loving it. I am loving it. That's exactly it. Clear the clutter. Oh my gosh. Okay, so what are some of the common misconceptions that people have about falling into ease?
Well, the first one obviously is that I'll fall into ease later. You know, once I have my kids, once my kids are grown, once I get married, once I get divorced, once I get to a job, once I retire from my job, once I have X amount of money, once I buy my house, once I sell my house, right?
Right.
But we have it as this thing that's out here. But what I'm bringing through this book and also through my work is, no, we have it right here. Right here. That's where ease is found. It's not found outside, ever. Ever. It's found right here. Just a little simple story. Can I share just a little simple story? We have a 6-year-old granddaughter, and she was here at our home for her birthday, and we bought her this gift. And it was a DVD player, a little portable DVD player, and it was purple, and it was hot, and it had purple headphones, and she was so excited, and it was like, yes, and it didn't work. So last night, we took it to the store, we bought it, and we were trying to return it. And they said, when did you receive this? We said, like, I don't know, whatever the date was. And they're like, you've exceeded the return time. It's got a 15-day return time. And my husband's like, oh, I'm going to be so mad if I can't. It never worked. And his energy is like, wah, right? And I'm like, I just put my hand on his shoulder. I just said, be quiet. In the most loving way, shut up. Stop.
Right?
And I just said to the gal, I said, okay, I understand that. And what do we need to do to rectify this? I said, and I offered a couple of options. I said, you can just reorder us another one. That would be fine. You can give us a store credit. That would be fine. It doesn't make any difference. But it didn't work. It doesn't work. I understand we're outside. I mean, I just created all this space by not doing what my husband did, which was, wow!
Right.
And that is falling into ease. So she said, let me call my supervisor. She called the supervisor. My husband started to talk. I said, let me do it. Let me handle this.
Got this.
Our story. And she kind of went, all right. She goes, how do you want your money back? I said, you know what? If it's easier, I'll take a store credit. That would be fine. She goes, oh my God, that'd be so much easier. I said, great, thanks. We're shopping right now. We'll go spend it.
Nice, perfect.
But it was like this, and that's what, I mean, falling into ease becomes a practice. It becomes a way of life that everything then can you feel the energy? It's a vibration. It's like, instead of, it's, okay,
Right.
given that, what am I going to do? Okay, given this obstacle, how can I breathe? Back up, take a breath, and take another path.
Right. Oh, I love that. Okay, so how did you get here? What was the thing that made you say, I have to find a way to let this be easy and give myself permission to follow my dreams?
Great question. So way back when, in the 90s, I had a moment. You probably weren't even born. My kids were little, and they're probably, anyway, doesn't matter. My life fell apart. Everything collapsed around me. I was a single parent. At that time, my kids were like 4 and 7. Now they're 28 and 31. And I was divorced. I was single. I fell in love. I followed this guy across the country, moving, up, picking my kids, moving. And one year, my poor little daughter, who was 2nd grade, was in 3 different schools. And she took a long time for her to forgive me for that. But everything crumbled. And the relationship ended. I was in Vermont under the snow in the middle of nowhere with nothing. It's like, oh, and I hit my knees. I literally fell onto the ground. And I hit my knees, and I just prayed. I said, I obviously cannot run my life. I have no clue how I got in this mess or how to get out of it.
Right.
And I heard a voice, a presence. And in that moment, I made a covenant, and that covenant was this: you show me the next step, and I promise I will take it. And that very quickly led me out of the relationship, out of the snow, out of the -degree temperature, back into a path that very quickly led me into the seminary. I heard the voice, like, okay, it's time to go to seminary. I'm like, oh, excuse me, hell no. You got the wrong person. And then I hear this essence, this vibration in me that's like, you said you'd take the next step if it was presented. I'm like, oh, okay. So fast forward, I do that. I do the prerequisites. I go to seminary, move across country. Now 2 kids. They're now 13 and 9.
Wow.
My daughter still has not yet forgiven me. Now she's even more deeply in the not forgiving of me to move her again.
Because now she's a teenager.
Poor daughter. Was ordained, was in ministry, and then in 2010 I had another calling. It was like everything was fine. That's when I was writing the Be a Boa book. It's like everything was fine, nothing was wrong, but nothing was like really rich and really like vibrant. It was like, it kind of had like, my colors had faded.
Gotcha.
So to speak. And so and then everything crumbled. Again, this seems to be a theme. Everything crumbled. And I stumbled into a body of work that in that body of work, I was asked the question, are you willing to serve creation? And my absolute answer is yes. And immediately I hear, then you're going to be asked to surrender everything. I'm like, cool, I'm cool with that.
Really?
The very short story of the long story is, over the next few months, I left my job. I left my home. I packed up a few things in my car thinking I was going on a 3-month sabbatical. I was in my car for 15 months. I let go of everything material that I owned. Well, I put it in storage, but I let go of the idea of it. I let go of the attachment to it. Right. I let go of the relationship, which once again crumbled. I let go of everything. And then I had nothing. And then I had to let go. I had to surrender. I was being very guided in this process. There was no conscious thought. Emotions, anger, fear, rage, unworthiness, guilt, shame. And those were not easy. That was the most excruciating and exhilarating time in my entire life, of ripping these things that were unlike love out of my beingness.
Oh my gosh.
And then I was asked to surrender every belief I ever had. I had to pull them out and look at them and dismantle them, I ended up in this place where I was like completely empty. It's like, what do you want for lunch? I'm like, doesn't matter. Where are you going to sleep tonight? Don't know yet. Like this absolute total surrender to the moment, to the infinite, to creation.
Right.
And that went on for, like I said, 15 months, maybe 18 months. And then I slowly started coming back. It's like, okay, done, completed. Started coming back. And it was like, if you know the story of Job in the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
I never related to that until years later. It's like, oh, my relationship showed up again. The one that had crumbled a year
Right.
and a half later showed up again. We're now married. This
Wow.
day, 2016, that was still in 2000, probably by now 11 or 12. We got married in 12. And I went back into church ministry. I went back into my movement. I started re-entering the world, and
Wow.
from a very different place, from a place of absolutely knowing that we have it all confused in our life. We're so confused. We have it so backwards. And so now my mission, I'm not in church ministry any longer. Again, went back in for 2 years. That was just a completion piece, I think. I just know it can be easier. I can help. I have the tools. I have the signature system to quickly, easily, and gently dissolve lifelong limiting patterns, to extract them from your beingness and replace them with your passion and your purpose and your love, and open the pathways into ease and into living the life of your dreams. And it was never a conscious thought about going to do that or creating the programs or any of that. It's all come from my experience.
Right. That's amazing. So what was the first step you would say that you took into this new path, this new way of life, this new thought process?
Well, for me, the first step has been a zillion first steps. But if I were to work with a client, or somebody was to pick up the book,
Mm-hmm.
the first step would be to take a breath. Just take a breath.
Something so simple.
Just take a breath. Yeah. Because where we live, and we talked about this a little bit before we started the recording, but we live up here in this world of stuff coming at us. Like, wow, it's like this barrage, like, wow, right?
Right.
But if we can simply take a step, take a breath, drop our awareness from out here into our beingness, and then actually take a step back. What we want to do is a step forward, but actually take a step back, because that will create some space. From a little bit of space, you can see clearly, you can hear clearly, you can know more clearly. That's the first step.
So easy and yet so complicated. Just take
right. Well, let's do it this way. So simple, but not easy.
Right. Have you ever noticed that, like when things get really hard, I don't know if you still go through this or not, but it's like everything constricts and you find yourself in that moment, like I've been holding my breath for a really long time.
Yeah, totally.
The harder things get, the tighter your chest gets.
Right. But so imagine that, Nisha, imagine that last time that you were there, and maybe it was, this morning, or maybe it was last week, or maybe it was last year, but imagine that, and everybody watching and listening, imagine that, like, like let your body do it, like, come on. Yeah, right? No, come on. Come there. Oh, we're doing it. No, do we have to do it because it's experiential, right? Yeah. And then wait, and all I said, the first step, what's the first step? Oh, take a breath.
Oh, it pushes you up. I love that.
And then exhale. And it opens you up.
It does.
It can be that simple. That is falling into ease. That's the first step of falling into ease.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Something so simple.
Something so simple. We have it so convoluted. It's always, it truly, if it's not simple, it's not spirit.
That's true. So you're basically out of alignment with where you need to be.
Yeah.
Wow. So once they've taken their deep breath, what's the next thing that they can do? Just like one step beyond taking a breath that can open them up to ease.
Well, we already kind of said it, but to take a step back, right?
Right.
To create space. So picture this. Picture, that fine gold chain that gets all tied up in a knot when you don't have it hung correctly. picture your life as that fine gold chain and gets all tied up in knots. And so it might be a particular circumstance or a thought pattern or a situation or a moment in time where you notice that you're all tied up in knots, right? So what do you do with the gold chain to get the knot? Do you pull at it? Right. No. That makes the knot tighter.
Worse. Yeah.
It makes it worse. You have to begin to like you're seeing my motions, right? Just to begin to create a little bit of space, loosen the knot. Just a little bit. You can do that with your breath. Right. You can do that physically with your body. You can do that mentally by walking outside and hugging a tree or putting your feet in some water.
Right.
You can do that really by taking that mental thing off, putting it down, and walking away from it.
That makes sense.
You know, most of us, so we get caught in a challenge. We want to fix it right now, but what if you don't have to fix it right now? What if you let it be, let it simmer, put it on the pot, on the stove, let it simmer for a little bit. When you go back, it looks different. It becomes different. Take a little bit of space. One of the tools, I mean, I don't know if this is exactly even what you're asking me, but it is these moment by moment little tiny shifts to begin to open the space.
That makes sense. But I think what people need to understand is that taking a step back does not mean going back into hiding. It doesn't mean like, don't let anybody see you.
Right. Here's what it is. It's like, hit my head against the wall, right? Take a breath. Oh, so I'm like this. Take a breath. Take a step back and see what you can do is you can see it more clearly.
Right. And you find your way around it.
You can find your way around it, in it, through it, over it.
I love it. That's perfect. So how does your spiritual practice affect your falling into ease?
For me personally, it's one and the same.
Okay.
And my spiritual practice has nothing to do with religion.
I love it.
My spiritual practice is learning the laws of the universe and aligning with them.
Okay.
The first law of the universe is really love.
Right.
Right? And then you can add in, kindness and compassion. But the other laws of the universe are like the seasons. To align yourself more with nature, to align yourself more with the sun and the moon and the stars, or the day and the night, to align yourself more with the proven principles such as gravity, such as the law of giving and receiving, such as the law of vibration. You will attract to you exactly what you are. You will see only what you believe. Think about that one for a moment. You will see only what you believe.
I love that.
So unpack a belief, like if I have a belief of I'm not worthy or I'm not enough, then that's all you can see.
Right.
So using our analogy, take a breath, like, oh, I'm so not worthy. Take a breath, back up. Oh, wait a minute. Is that even true? Why do I believe what I believe?
Right.
The tools that I use in my practice now actually dive down to the core of those beliefs, extract them using the quantum physics, quantum field, quantum physics, quantum mechanics, using the science that we have now, and go, oh, that's no longer true.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. So what would be true? What is more true? Oh, I am totally worthy.
Right.
You feel the energy in that, right? Take on, I'm not worthy. Take a breath, unpack it, look at it, tell the truth about it. What's more true? Oh, did you feel yourself just even, I am worthy. Oh, actually I am.
Yeah, you feel yourself sit up straight in your chest.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's perfect. So what was holding you back from reaching this point?
Life, right?
Yeah.
The subconscious, for me, and I don't know if this is true for everybody, but when I went on that time, that year and a half time, for me, it was a real spiritual initiation. It was a real up-leveling of my beingness.
Wow.
From like the world as we know it, like I call it the living in separation. into a real experience of the next level, which I call oneness, where you actually come to know, right? You can't think there. When I had my first experience in that work, I went to church. I was still ministering in a church. I went to church the next day, and I went, it's like I couldn't talk because I was so moved and transformed in my body. Wow. But what I was trying to share was that I'm beginning to experience and integrate that which I've been teaching for already a decade. And I didn't even know I didn't know it.
Wow.
But when it gets into the cells of your being, it's a totally different place than when it's just in your head.
Right.
Right? So unpacking everything that was tied up in the sense of separation, that we're alone, that we're not enough, that all the idea of wars and fighting and disease and lack and limitation, all that is in the world as experience, but in the realm of what I call separation. So the awakening to the experience of oneness, one with spirit, source, creation, God, whatever you call it, one with all of humanity, one with the planet, then everything changes. From that place, you can't hate. You can't fight. You can't kill.
Right.
From that place, there is no lack. There is no limitation. There is no other than. It's all right here.
I like
that. You can awaken to that in an instant, but to learn to train yourself to be there takes time, in my experience, up until now.
So what's the best piece of advice that you've received along your journey?
Let me give it to you. Are you ready?
Yes.
This is for you, Nisha, but it's for everybody who's watching and listening. So take a breath. Open your mind, your heart, your being to receive this. This is the best truth I've ever been given. Nisha, and everybody listening, you are enough. You are loved. You are exactly where you're supposed to be, and you are doing amazing work. It's all going to be okay, and you already know the next step. You're loved. You're so loved. You're so not only loved, but supported by this universe, by everything in it. No matter what it looks like, it's true. Would you be willing to receive it?
Yes. Wow.
And what do you notice, Nisha, in that receiving of that?
It feels complete.
Yeah.
Like it really is true.
Yeah. It really is true. It really is true.
Wow. Okay. This is not what we're supposed to be doing right now.
but we're exactly where we're supposed to be, right?
Exactly. That was awesome. Yes. I love that. I think so often as women, we're always striving for something more, and we never stop to think what I am, where I am right now is exactly where I'm supposed to be, and it is enough. Wow. So what's one habit that you have, like one daily habit or weekly or monthly habit that you have that contributes to your success?
Probably staying present in the moment as much as possible. Staying, like when I'm interviewing with you, I'm interviewing with you.
Right.
When I'm working on the stack of to-dos, when I'm working on my stack of to-dos, I don't do this all the time very well. I do the next one. I still get spun out.
Right.
Like most people on the planet. It's like, oh my gosh, there's 25 things on the to-do list for the next hour, and blah. But take the breath.
Right.
Wait, come back to the moment. Look outside. I have the beautiful view out my window. I keep looking out my window. It's gorgeous. What's the next thing for me to do right now? What's the one next thing to do right now?
So you're not a multitasker.
I used to be. It doesn't work anymore for me.
Love it.
Yeah. Now I can bounce. I can bounce. I can have 3 or 4 projects going at a time.
but not at the same, like, instant.
Right. I used to be able to, even talk on the phone and, write an article to say, yeah, I can't do that anymore. It's the downside of being in the present moment.
Well, I'm sure that the articles and the conversations being separate are now more full of you than only partially you.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
That's awesome. Okay, so what is your one piece of guidance that you will give everybody as your parting piece of guidance for today?
Take a breath. No, how many times have I said that, right? Take a breath today, right? Pick up Falling into Ease. It's a sweet little book. It might transform your life. Accept yourself right where you are. Quit fighting. Quit fighting so hard. Quit working so hard. Just quit working so hard. Move from working hard into allowing. Just allow life to unfold. Allow your business to unfold. Allow your clients to find you, to show up.
Wow. That's a totally different thought from most of what you hear in the entrepreneurial world. Is, you have to hustle, you have to grind. And in all honesty, for me, that doesn't work. I am like a very things have to flow. If they don't flow, like I can't work in that headspace.
Right. So look at the successful entrepreneurs. I'm not saying all of them, but the ones that are recently successful, like the 6 figures and above, but so many of them are so stressed out.
Right.
Like, so is that really worth it?
No.
But you look at the ones who are truly successful, they've got more balance in their life.
Right. And that's what I want, is that balance.
Yeah.
I want to be in ease.
Yes, there you go.
Okay, so where can everybody find you?
Well, there's Facebook. I've got a group called Falling into Ease. That's the easiest way to really land. It's a community, it's a group page, and it's easy to find. So Falling into Ease.
Okay.
I've got a Facebook challenge. I think by the time we air this, it will already be done, but lots of really yummy stuff in that group. So find me there. AlizaBloom.com is where you're going to find stuff about the book.
Okay.
And divine-awakening.org. Okay. There's a free gift over there for you. We talked about this as well. It's called Simple Tips for Life's Difficult Moments. And it's 21 very, very simple, take you just a moment or two, hacks. I don't know if that's a good word or not, but hacks to stop, to interrupt the pattern of stress, to interrupt the pattern of struggle, and to drop into a moment of ease. Once you've landed in a moment of ease, you can find another and another, and pretty soon you've got a whole pathway of ease, a whole experience of ease, a whole life of ease.
Exactly. So we're going to have links to all of your connection points underneath your video. And then there will also be links for everybody to find your books, to get in touch with you on social media. And it's been great talking to you today. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're super busy, but I appreciate you taking this time to talk.
Absolutely. It's been a joy to share with you. And I look forward to watching you as you fall into a deeper ease with all of your life and all of your work.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Nisha.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.